So let's begin from Joel chapter 2 verse 12 and 15. Why we fast? We fast because God calls for fasting. Fasting is not a product of human intelligence. We did not become creative. We did not become wise. We were not just sensible, and we felt every time we decide to stay away from food or things that appeal to us, it's beneficial. It's God himself that first of all put a demand for his people to fast. He said, therefore also now saith the Lord, he said, turn ye even unto me with all your heart, with fasting and with weeping. And so when we are dealing with this very sensitive spiritual engagement, we need to understand that the supreme being himself is the one who demands for it. And so this will help you to put in the level of seriousness and the focus required to fast. Because many people think fasting is just a church program, and they do it carelessly and haphazardly. The consecration requirement, the hallowedness required in the time of fasting is not there. There are many people who fast and spend all the time watching movies because they think it's about staying without food for a particular period of time. Fasting is deeper than that. A spirit is inviting you to a time of intercourse, a time of focus, and a time of attention to him alone. So it's a call that God puts on the human spirit. You find that also in Joel 1:14, and it's replete in scriptures. The second reason we fast is that maturity demands it. If you want to grow in this kingdom, you must engage this enterprise of fasting. There's no mature Christian who does not engage in fasting periodically. Time and again, you will have to stay away from food. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 17, the Bible made a very strong statement. It said, blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of the nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength and not for drunkenness. And so fasting and the ability to stay away from food or to eat food for the purpose of service and strength is an act of nobility. And in this kingdom, when you come into maturity, you are royal, and so you effuse the characteristics of royalty. And so every noble in this kingdom knows how to interact with food. He knows when to stay away, and he knows the purpose for which he eats. There are many persons advanced in age who eat chocolate. They just love it because it appeals to their taste bud, whereas it's destroying them. They don't understand the place of strength. But when you become mature in the kingdom, you prioritize correctly. And so your interaction with food is to empower you for kingdom advancement. And so there'll be a time where you have to stay away from food in order to advance in spiritual sensitivity, to pick signals from heaven and to navigate with the Spirit of God. And there are times where you have to eat and eat the right diet, so you'll be strong to do kingdom work. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 5, when Paul was giving us his credentials, one of it is fasting. He said, in stripes, imprisonment, in turmoil, in labors, in watching, and in fasting. He fasted often. And so one of the reasons Paul stood out amongst the apostles is the fact that periodically Paul engaged in the enterprise of fasting. And so fasting is necessary for maturity. And the third reason we must engage in fasting is the fact that every man is tested around his appetite. If you have not conquered your appetite, you are a failure waiting to happen. The very first man God created was tested around his appetite. Adam, who was the first design, he was supposed to be the best. He was supposed to be the most advanced of God's creatures. However, when the test of appetite was put forward, he failed. The devil came to him. He didn't test his intelligence. The devil came to him. He didn't test him on any other thing but his appetite. This was a guy manifesting highest level intelligence. All the animals God created, he didn't need to read a book. He didn't need to consult with any document. He could name the animals according to the names that God named them. But he failed the test of appetite as though he was an inexperienced person. And truly he was. Because if he was experienced, he would have known that he must have developed capacity in the area of appetite. And he failed. Even Jesus, the Son of God, was tested around his appetite. When the devil came to him, the first thing he said is, if you are the Son of God, turn these stones to bread. And the Bible made us to understand that Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he was hungry. You would expect that because he was hungry, he will rush to eat bread. But there is a hunger that educates you in the spirit. And so you will begin to understand priorities from the scales of the immortals. So Jesus was not moved to demonstrate power just to prove a point, because the fasting gave him a tutelage in the spirit that made him to choose the things that God chooses. If a man does not master his appetite, he will be a puppet in the hands of demonic spirits. Our pursuit in this life, many persons walk for their belly. Many persons enter into relationships for their bellies. The bellies of men have become their God. And so when we fast, it's because we are preparing ourselves for the day of trial. Because one of the areas we must be tested and one of the areas we must pass is the area of appetite.